Welcome back. I frequently get questions about the WR250F in YouTube comments and email, so I'm making this video to reference whenever I get these questions. A lot of people know that I used to have a WR250F, so they're asking from that perspective and why I switched to a YZ250FX. Another relatively common comment I get on my YZ250FX specific videos, especially when I talk about suspension, they suggest that I should have bought a WR250F. So in this video, I hope to answer some of those questions and provide some information, but first I should note that there are different versions of the WR250F depending on what country you're in. When I look at my YouTube analytics, the largest viewership for my channel by country is the United States, but the second largest viewership on my channel by country is Australia. So I want to point out that when I'm talking about the WR250F, I'm specifically referring to the US version of the WR250F. The Australian version of the WR250F is different from the US version, so I wanted to point that out to avoid any confusion with my Australian friends. Another point of clarification is that my comparisons are for new bikes. I typically buy my race bikes new, so I'm comparing from that perspective. Buying a used WR250F is completely different for reasons that will be more clear later in this video. With that out of the way, the YZ250FX and the WR250F have a lot in common. On the spec sheet, there are very few differences. For 2025, the only two differences I could find on the spec sheet are the 2-gallon tank versus the 2.1-gallon tank, and the weight of the WR250F coming in 6 pounds heavier. Both bikes have a $9,099 list price as of 2025. I thought the WR250F used to have a slightly higher list price, but regardless, they're now the same. The real difference is that the WR250F has emissions restrictions to make it a green sticker bike in California. This includes an airbox restrictor, a very restricted exhaust, the throttle is limited to 3/8 throttle, and it has a locked ECU. The airbox restrictor can be removed and the throttle limit screw can be removed. The exhaust can be partly opened up, but a slip-on is a better approach to making it run like a YZ250FX. The more problematic difference is that the bike has a locked ECU for emissions compliance. It's not compatible with the GYTR tuner app, and the bike does not come with the GYTR communication control unit or the Wi-Fi module that connects the bike to the app. In order to be able to tune the bike with the GYTR app, you need the GYTR competition ECU and the GYTR communication control unit. The GYTR competition ECU can be hard to find for the newer models and is about $250. The GYTR communication control unit is about $420. These items are standard equipment on the YZ250FX for the same price as the WR250F. So with the $9,099 list price of the WR250F, you need to spend over $1,000 just to get the same functionality and performance of the YZ250FX. A viewer recently commented that he was able to uncork his WR250F for $341 by finding a GYTR ECU and a YZ250F exhaust on eBay. So there can be cheaper ways to do it, but that was an additional $341 to get the performance similar to the YZ250FX, but without the tunability of the GYTR app. Another difference between the YZ250FX and the WR250F is the suspension settings. The WR250F has softer valving. Whenever I talk about getting the valving softened up on my YZ250FX, commenters sometimes say, well, you should have bought a WR250F. My response is that I've never had a bike that I didn't get my suspension customized on. I'm always going to get springs specific to my weight and valving specific to my preferences and ability. Even if I bought a WR250F, I would still get the suspension customized. So for me personally, the stock suspension settings are mostly irrelevant. Also, suspension work doesn't cost me anywhere near $1,000. Considering that I prefer to buy my race bikes new, and for the reasons stated in this video, buying a new WR250F is not something I would consider. However, if you're considering buying a used WR250F, they can be a great deal. It's likely that the previous owner has already absorbed the expense of unlocking the functionality and performance of the bike, and used bike values between the YZ250FX and the WR250F are roughly equal. With the competition ECU, the communication control unit, and fully uncorked, the performance and handling of the WR250F is fantastic and comparable to the YZ250FX. So buying a used one in good condition can be a great opportunity. Now I hope that I've made clear in this video that the WR250F is an outstanding bike in my opinion and will perform exactly like a YZ250FX with a few mods. It just doesn't make sense for me personally to buy a new one over a YZ250FX. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you have a WR250F and did you buy it new or used? If you were planning to buy one or the other and you were at a dealer looking at a new YZ250FX and a new WR250F side by side for the same price, which one would you buy? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.